What I would do if I won £169 million on the Euro Million jackpot this Tuesday. So before we begin, let's just put that into perspective. How much is £169 million? If we take £169 million and we convert that into dollars, we get roughly $208 million. Forbes magazine reports that Miss Taylor Swift was the highest paid celebrity earner of 2019, earning a whopping $185 million. If you won the jackpot on Tuesday, overnight, you would have acquired more money than the top entertainer in the world over a whole year. And to top it off, you'd have a spare $23 million. Going forward, we're going to be leaving out the math and the probability, and let's just say, for the sake of argument, I've now won the £169 million Euro Million jackpot. What on earth would I do with all that money? So first things first, the National Lottery would send one of their secret agents whose identity is kept under wraps to meet with me at a time and place that suits me. This is to fill in the corresponding paperwork and to validate that I am the actual ticket holder. The next step is he would take me to Coutts Bank in London. This is the same bank that the Queen uses. However, membership is very strict, and if you have a criminal record, your membership will be rejected. This is what happened to a previous lottery winner called Michael Carroll. In the end, they had to go to Barclays instead. But as I don't have a criminal record, and I now have many millions of pounds coming my way, a Coutts membership would be no problem. Now I'm a Coutts member with many millions of pounds. I will gain access to a team of lawyers, financial planners, investment managers, etc., etc., etc. It's at this point I would tell them things that I would want to avoid buying or investing in. These things are expensive supercars, lavish mansions, and exuberant parties. Instead, I would tell them who I have drawn my inspiration from. Samuel Gurney, Elizabeth Fry, and George Peabody, all Victorian philanthropists who had massive success with money, but also gave loads away in order to help the less fortunate and the needy. So back to my financial team. I would tell them to split the money into two pots. A personal pot and a charity foundation pot. The personal pot would have £19 million, as you only need so much money before it becomes kind of vulgar and unnecessary. And from this money, I wouldn't buy a mansion, but I would buy a big enough house that would be very comfortable and very lovely, and also detached. Something that's rather understated for someone who's just come into over £100 million. Then I would buy my dream car, and this is a Ford Mustang, and it's roughly worth about £40,000, so it's not going to tear away my fortune. Then obviously I would have a lot of fun with the money, but also in the background I would invest a fair chunk of it, so I would always be self-sufficient on this £19 million. And maybe for the hell of it, I'd start a British touring car team. And with the other pot, I would start a charity foundation, and I would place the rest of the money. That's right, £150 million. I could give this money away, but that feels too easy. And what would you do the next day? I mean, you write 4 or 5 checks for millions of pounds, and then the next day there's nothing. Instead, this foundation would be like having a large pot of gold. Well, £150 million worth of gold. However, you couldn't touch it. You couldn't withdraw any of it. I know what you're thinking. Paul, what good is locking away all that money up in an account that you can't touch or take out? How is that going to help people? That is a good question. Whilst I or anyone else couldn't touch the principal or take out from the principal of £150 million, the interest that pot creates is the bit that we'd be able to take out and touch and give to people. Let's say for ease, Coots gives us 5% interest per year. And theoretically, we pay no taxes or fees for the sake of simplicity. Therefore, we'd earn £7.5 million in interest that we would give away. With this £7.5 million, we would spread it across several different things. So we would give some to some people's Just Giving page, or their noteworthy Kickstarter ideas. If I had read an appalling or upsetting story in the newspaper that the charity could help out, we would contribute to that cause. The obvious one of donating toys to needy children at Christmas, and helping homeless people throughout the year by providing warmth, food, and medical treatment. Plus loads of random acts of kindness. However, there would be one rule on the giving front. If someone asks us directly for money, their request, no matter how noble or compassionate it may be, will be denied. Whilst nobody can take the principal money out of the charity foundation, anybody and everybody can put donations in, starting with 150 million. If in a few years' time we gain 50 million in donations, we'd now have an untouchable principal pot of £200 million. So the 5% interest on that £2 million now generates £10 million per year that must be given away to charitable and good causes, or random acts of kindness. And we do more and more giving every year as the pot grows bigger and bigger and bigger. Meaning a pound given today would still be helping people hundreds of years into the future. So many lottery winners regret that they ever won the lottery. However, I believe with this plan, it would give me a sense of fulfillment, bring a new and true purpose into my life, and inspire generations to come. All the while helping people throughout the UK and onto the world, eventually. So here's hoping I do win, because Paul Hover, modern day philanthropist / British touring car team owner. Now, the question remains, would I go public? Well, that's a story for another day.